Northeast Scotland is a large triangle of land jutting out into the North Sea. It is a rugged, convoluted coastline and home to an ancient landscape shaped by geology over millions of years. Out in the open ocean, another great migration is also taking place. Atlantic salmon are heading home, returning to the rivers where they were born. Their journey begins in the feeding grounds of the Arctic waters of Greenland. This is where salmon from many parts of the world congregate to feed and grow. Some return after 1 year, while others may stay for up to 4 years. For some salmon, home means the rivers of North America, while others head for the rivers of the Mediterranean, Northern Europe, and Britain. Whatever their destination, when they approach the coast, they will stop feeding. The majority of salmon in this stage will never eat again. The sole objective now is to return to the river where they were born and to reproduce. This will be a perilous journey. The bottlenose dolphin, one of the northernmost living dolphin species, is waiting for the salmon. These dolphins are quite large, with some individuals reaching over 3 meters in length. This is their territory, and they are here waiting for the salmon migration season. The dolphins hunt in pods, trying to herd the salmon into shallow waters where they are easier to catch. The mother dolphins, along with their calves, participate in this hunt. At times, it seems that hunting salmon is not just for food, but also a highly entertaining game. The salmon's sense of smell is the factor that guides it not only back to its home river, but also to the very spot where it was hatched from an egg. The estuaries are dangerous places, so the salmon need to time the high tide to be able to swim further into the river. The sand dunes here have been constantly changing shape over hundreds of years, stabilized by grass and shrubs. The estuary is home to a rich ecosystem with many species of plants, birds, and animals. The eider ducks also breed here in the hundreds. Their food supply depends on a powerful force: the moon, twice a day, 365 days a year. The tide rises and falls, providing an abundant food source. The rich organic mudflats are a plentiful source of food for fish and wading birds. When the tide is out, shrimp, worms, crabs, and mussels are food for many predators. When the tide comes in, it replenishes the food for the microorganisms on which these predators depend. Larger predators waiting for the salmon at the estuary are the gray seal and the common seal. They gather by the hundreds along the sandbanks of the estuary. If the river level upstream is too low, the salmon must return to the sea with the receding tide, and then they face the lurking seals. For some salmon, the journey will end here, with the outcome of becoming a large meal for a seal. These seals are resting right after a hearty feast. To avoid becoming prey to the seals, the salmon need to move quickly through the estuary. The river, with its powerful pull that has led them across hundreds of miles of ocean, is not a safe haven. As the salmon's internal organs gradually adjust from saltwater to freshwater, they no longer eat or drink. All the energy they have now is what is stored in their bodies. When the salmon enter the main river, they face another major predator: humans. Salmon are one of the largest sport fish, sought after by anglers. No one really understands why salmon bite a lure when they are no longer feeding. Some believe it is instinct. When they take the hook, a fight begins. Some fish escape, while others fight until exhaustion. For some, this is the end of the journey. As the long summer days continue, the salmon rest in deep pools to conserve energy. They still have a long journey ahead. When autumn arrives, summer fades, and the dippers are active along the river. The leaves gradually turn brown and red. The male salmon also change from silver to the bright, brilliant colors of the breeding season. They develop a hooked jaw part called a kype, created by hormones and the energy they accumulated over the summer. Now they are ready to move upstream. However, a new obstacle appears. The river becomes narrower as it flows through a rocky gorge. Heavy rains have made the current fierce, but the salmon cannot wait. They sense that their perilous journey is coming to an end. With no other choice, they must continue. Using the standing waves at the waterfalls like a conveyor belt, they attempt to jump through the rushing water. However, the force of the current is too great. Many times they are thrown back down. Some are injured, tired, and forced to rest between attempts. Then they continue again. Their determination to reproduce is too strong and irresistible. Salmon have been observed jumping over waterfalls higher than 3.5 meters. It may take many attempts, but eventually, they succeed. This is what they were born to do. They have almost reached their goal. This incredible journey began near the Arctic Circle about a year ago and ends here. After nearly 5,000 kilometers, in the breeding grounds of the Scottish Highlands, there is no time to waste. They are nearly exhausted. Using her powerful tail fin, the female salmon digs a nest, called a redd. As she digs, she releases a small amount of fluid from her ovaries into the water. This pheromone attracts the males and signals that the female is ready to lay her eggs. A large adult male, nearly a meter long with an impressive kite, has been attracted by the female's scent. The female continues to dig the nest, constantly checking the depth by dipping her tail fin to the bottom. When the other males have been driven away, this male approaches the female salmon. The salmon eggs are adhesive, sticking to each other and to the gravel in the bottom of the nest. The female then scoops gravel from the surroundings to cover the nest, creating a protective layer for the eggs. To ensure their safety, she will repeat this process, laying eggs in several different nests, until she has no more. With the eggs fertilized and safely protected, the fish's mission is complete. The goal of the long and arduous journey has been achieved. The salmon have eaten nothing for too long and are now exhausted. This salmon and many other males are showing signs of a fungal infection. If a salmon loses more than 40% of its body weight, its chances of survival are very low. For some others, mainly the females, they may return to the sea to recover and feed. But most males will die after spawning. Their poor health and the stress of fighting with other males for mating have left them depleted. Unlike their Pacific relatives, some Atlantic salmon can return to the sea to feed and come back to spawn again. A female who has successfully spawned 3 times will have swum over 28,000 kilometers in her lifetime, surviving many predators along the way. In her spawning runs, she will lay about 20,000 eggs, proving that she is an amazing mother. It is incredible that these salmon can die just meters from where they themselves hatched. But the natural life cycle continues. As the dead fish decompose, they add nutrients to the water, improving the quality of life in the river and providing nourishment for the young generation of salmon waiting at the bottom of the river. In Scotland, the number of salmon has declined in many rivers and has completely disappeared from some rivers in the Mediterranean. Of the thousands of smolts that go to sea, 95% will not return. In the past, thousands of adult salmon were caught by coastal fishing nets, preventing them from returning to their rivers to spawn. Today, conservation efforts are being implemented to improve their chances of survival. If coastal nets are permanently removed and the rivers are better protected, more salmon will have a chance to return to their spawning grounds. The life cycle of the Atlantic salmon, from hatching from an egg, living in the gravel, maturing in the river, then swimming out to the open sea and returning to spawn, is one of the true wonders of nature. As an environmental indicator species, the health and numbers of salmon help to measure the health of larger ecosystems. But now, this fish is in serious danger. The sight of salmon leaping over waterfalls and completing their long, arduous journey underscores that the Atlantic salmon is truly the king and queen of fish. And what are your views on the great journey of these salmon? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.